Welcome back to another episode of the Pursuit of Progress podcast. Really excited, guys. I've got a very special guest today to continue on with our brand new season 2 of the Pursuit of Progress. This is going to be our second episode, and nobody better to join me today than Allison Johnson. She's actually my TC, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that is exactly in a minute here. But before we do, just wanted to welcome Allison to the show. Allison, how are you doing?
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, like Adam said, my name's Allison Johnson, and I run No Limits Transaction Management.
Yep. And No Limits is the best TC company you guys can find out there. So I've been using Allison now for pretty much, I think really since I found out what a TC was, about 2 years, I think at this point. Allison, just for people that don't know, explain a little bit about what your company does. What is a TC?
Yeah, so a TC pretty much takes care of all the minutia and tries to free up agents' time so they can concentrate more on gaining new business and current clients that are under contract. But we do a lot of the keeping up with deadlines, sending out paperwork for signature, coordinating your inspections, appraisals, other appointments, things like that, closings, making sure compliance CDAs are ready, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of like it in a nutshell. So
Yeah, I think it's something that for people that haven't used a TC before, you don't really understand how valuable it is until you go through this process once and just see how much weight is lifted off of your shoulders, and you're able just to have another person to rely on for a lot of this stuff, just keeping track of the dates and deadlines and all the important stuff that really is, the most important when it comes to once you're under contract and ensuring that you guys get your clients to the closing table. Before we kind of just talk a little bit more about the value of TCs and just some of that stuff, just give us a little bit of a background, Allison. Asking this for the audience, but also just kind of my personal interest. Just kind of, are you from Colorado? I kind of think you're not, right? Did you move here from the Midwest somewhere? I forgot.
yes, from Oklahoma. So been here since 2007. I've lost a little bit of the twang, but I still say y'all and ain't. But yeah, moved here in 2007, was a stay-at-home mom for a couple years, and my middle son and another lady's oldest, they were in the same class, and she got her real estate license, and we were kind of talking, and she was like, hey, do you want to help me stage a house? And I was like, oh, like, yes, I love HGTV. I like seeing all the things. So helped her with that. And then from then on, like, we stuck together. I did a lot of admin assistant type work for her. And she ended up leaving the area, and she said, I built this business up. If you want it, like, I'm happy to, give it to you. Basically, you just need to get licensed. So I got my real estate license, and then some life events happened, and I just transitioned back over to full-time TC work. Worked with a great TC company and under some other TCs that I've learned that this is actually a business. It's not just something that you kind of throw together and do. So really got my experience there, and then from there on, I've just been growing and growing. So yep.
So, what gave you the skill set of just being super? Because you think of a TC, the strongest attributes of a person that I would want to find in a TC would be somebody that's just super good with organization and just understanding how to prioritize different things to make sure these deadlines are met. You have a background previously with a different job back in the day with that, or is that just kind of who you are as a person?
Yeah, I really like organization. Like, even, I mean, sometimes having 3 kids, you're not gonna necessarily walk in my house and be like, oh yeah, of course you're organized. Because things kind of get, out of place. But I breathe better when things are organized. Like, if my house is messy, like, I get anxious. And so I just like everything organized. I just feel better, like physically feel better if things are organized. And part of that brings me to, in my business, I have systems set up where I'm kept organized. Like I can't not walk into work and not know where I'm at. And before we had to use papers, to keep up with things, and it was touching a file every day. And with the systems we have now, if you're closing 50 transactions in a month, you cannot touch every file a day. So it's setting up, triggers, you need to check this to make sure they have a reminder for property insurance or whatever. So you have to have great systems to stay organized.
That was actually one of my other questions I was preparing to ask you was like, what existed before CTME, DocuSign, all these electronic signature platforms, and just a lot of the tools that we as realtors use, as well as you as a TC. I just think of like how that even existed back in the day. Were TCs around back then, or was it more at that point like an office, a brick and mortar real estate office had more of like a secretary that maybe kind of filled that role? I just
Yeah.
don't know like what happened back in the day with this.
Yeah. I think TC, like the idea of TCs were just coming into play when I first got into real estate, which it's been about 10, maybe longer than 10 years now. It's been a while. Um, But yeah, we would print off a check sheet for every transaction, and you could have, a good stack of papers there. And we would just have we would just go through and check off the checklist, make sure the contract gets to title or check in with the lender for a clear to close, things like that. So, yeah, it's way better now.
Yeah,
I'll
the word
just
I was
say
going to
that.
use is stressful. That sounds stressful to not be able to have all these tools we have today. We're pretty lucky.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, when I'm doing a buyer presentation or a seller presentation, I'm just trying to win a deal, get somebody to work with me. I always lean on making the point to them that it's not just me. I have a team around me, and I think that's something that maybe realtors that haven't used a transaction coordinator before don't understand the value in that, of just elevating the entire level of service you're providing your customers. And I think the thing I've learned over the years, the biggest thing pretty much for almost every client out there is communication. Just the better communication you can have with somebody, the more smooth the transaction is going to go, the better quality of customer service you're going to be providing. And I just can't imagine being able to do that at a high level, especially if there's multiple deals going on at the same time, without having you by my side. So I'm just on a shameless plug. I just want to just give that quick little thank you to you, because again, I don't know what I would do without having somebody like you to help with a lot of those little pieces that can easily slip through the cracks.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I know you're an amazing agent. Not everybody is on top of their stuff like you are. I mean, sometimes I'm like, what do you have me around for, Adam? Like you're just so like on top of it. But that, I mean, to your point of like the value in that, a little story from yesterday, like I have a newer agent that I've worked a couple of deals with, and her client was, I would email the client, and then the client was texting her information, like answers to my emails, and then she was having to be the go-between person. And I am like, hey, like, thank you so much, but like I hate for your client to have to use you as a go-between. Like I'm here to take that off your plate so you can focus, on other things, growing your business. And so like, to your point of like saying you have a team around you, I think that's super important for agents to do whenever they do bring on a new client. Because if they don't know, hey, Allison's going to be involved in the deal, please feel free to communicate with her. Like they don't know me from anybody else. So they may not feel comfortable with answering, my emails or sending me text messages or calling me. So I think it's very important for agents to introduce their team, early on in the process so they know like, hey, she's okay to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I always, I'm the type of person that sometimes I'm worried about being a pest to the other people involved in the transaction. Just like, I ask a question yesterday and I don't hear from them by this morning. Do I want to reach out again? Do I wait? Am I, annoying them? It's so nice having somebody like you to kind of be that second person to, like, I know you've several times reached out, hey, Adam, do you want me to follow up with these people? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Just having another person just to kind of collectively move the ball down the field and not have it always just be feeling like you're nagging on somebody because it's, so that's another just little side value I think that you provide as a TC, just having somebody else to
Yeah.
help bug people.
Yeah. And, that's okay. I'm here to bug people. And hopefully I do it in a way that it doesn't come off like, oh, but yeah, I mean, we're a team, and the whole purpose is to get your clients to the closing table. And so yeah, we're a team to get that done. So happy to.
When you were kind of sharing about, some of the role that you have as a TC, I think one other thing that I don't know if you mentioned or not, but just the whole compliance aspect, which is something I really appreciate, where, for people that aren't maybe realtors that are listening to this, just to be compliant with whatever brokerage a realtor is at, we have a ton of very specific documents that have to be uploaded and, basically provided before really we're supposed to be paid our commission. And that's just another area that I'm not very good at myself. So it's so great to have you as just that person that's collecting all these various documents that are needed. And, it doesn't just stop, with when the home sells, it's all this other compliance stuff too.
Yep. Yep. For sure. For sure. All the closing documents and stuff like that. And sometimes, every brokerage is different too. Like EXP, they're okay with a combined stack of documents. Some of the brokerages, they like to have them all separated and listed out. So it's, there's always work for us to do at some point in the transaction. So yeah.
Are there companies that are maybe, I don't know why I'm thinking of Remax, but just some of these maybe older brokerages that are maybe still running their businesses the old school way, where maybe they don't even allow their realtors to use a TC that's not maybe somehow in-house or directly affiliated with their brokerage? Do you ever run into that? Are there like certain brokerages where you're not really able to help those agents?
Yeah. I think it's unfortunate because you're limiting your agent. But yeah, there are some agencies or brokerages that they want you to use in-house TCs, which why they want you to do that is because they have taken they're offering that, but they're getting money from it basically. So as long as you keep all your money, in the brokerage, that's great for them. But you're a business owner, just like I'm a business owner, and you should have the freedom to run your business, I think, how you want
Definitely.
to run it. And some TCs, like they they're I don't know if I want to say limited, but they have to they may not offer the same level of service as what an independent TC would. Like some TCs only do compliance only, and that's fine. If that's what your agent is looking for, then that's fine. It just depends really on the agent and what they're wanting, but I think they should have the freedom to be able to choose who they want to work with. So
Have you ever heard are there any stats out there that tell us what percentage of deals have a transaction coordinator versus don't? I wonder what you know, the usage is across the industry.
I don't know of any stats. I mean, I'm sure they're there, but I would say just working transactions, the majority of agents do have a TC of some sort to help out. I would say 70% maybe. Um, yeah, I would think so.
I was in a coaching call earlier today with Will Grimes and Eli Schmidt, who Allison obviously is very familiar with as well. That's the guys that I joined EXP, the realty company that I'm with. They're the ones that brought me over there. And in this coaching call today, we were talking about just creating more of a business rather than just being an employee, meaning, are you just like a person that's just, helping people buy and sell real estate, or are you actually creating a business? So when you're creating an actual business, the first thing to do is being able to delegate certain tasks that are taken off of the realtor's plate, so then we can focus our energy on what's providing us the highest return on our investment of time, which is, reaching out to potential new clients and all marketing and all kinds of stuff. But in that initial phase of growing and turning yourself into more of an actual business, they always talk about the very first hire that anybody should have is always a TC. we talk about like VAs, so virtual assistants, how those are also really important. But really, the number one hire for everybody that's trying to create an actual business is a TC, and just taking that load off of our plates and relying on somebody like you. I think that was it's like a coincidental timing when he brought that up just like an hour ago before we started recording today.
Yeah, I think I wish I would have been able to be on that call because I think the heading was you either have an assistant or you are the assistant. And a lot of the things that, I mean, you either have a TC or you are the TC. It's just like any other, how you even walk around in your world. You could either hire a plumber or you can be the plumber. Like what do you want to spend your time on? Learning how to do plumbing or hire somebody and leverage your time. And growing up, like if we were able to do it, we did it. Like that's just my family's background. And I think now it's like whatever I can do to leverage my time, I'm going to do it. If I can have somebody to come in and cook for me every day, do my laundry, I'm going to do it because I know I can be spending my time on something else that's more important, like whether that's with my kids or building my business or, whatever that may be. I say if you can do it, like leverage, leverage, leverage. So,
I've had a few realtor friends of mine that I've done some deals with in the past year that are up in the mountains where I moved down from, up in the Aspen area. And two of them, and they both are very high producing realtors, and neither of them have a TC, and they both have like 3 or 4 kids each. And I'm just like, man, how are you guys like not able to just understand the value of just
yeah,
unloading all of these high stress type tasks, which are, very dependent on
yeah.
if the deal is going to fall through, or, just very, very important things. And just the fact that they don't leverage somebody like you, it blows me away.
Yeah.
But
I can I can understand because I made a hire this past year to help me out and I knew I was a control freak over my work, but I didn't know how bad it was until I really was like, I have to stick with this. I have to let go and, let her help me out. But so I get it. Like whenever you build a business and that's like your baby, like to trust somebody else with that is super difficult. And so I can understand. Like, it's been really hard for me to let go. And I still will review stuff because I'm just like so afraid something's gonna go wrong. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to upset you guys, agents, clients, I don't want to let anybody down. So it's hard. It's hard to let go. But once you do, it's like, oh, why didn't I do that earlier? It's like so freeing and exciting. Like, I remember just being able to let one piece go. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best feeling ever. so, so yeah.
what's going through my head right now is thinking about how the comment I just made about all these high stress type tasks were unloading on you. And then I'm thinking about, man, well, you're dealing with every task you have is kind of that high stakes, like there's a strict deadline here. Like I can imagine that you do have a fairly stressful role just with, like you're saying, like check it 2 or 3 times, just like making sure that you're not missing anything. I can
Yeah.
imagine that's tough.
Yeah, it can be. But I mean, I work with, I've said it before, but I think the people that I work with are the greatest in the business. And so, um, I don't know. We're all just a team, and I'm here to support you and support other agents. Um, so yeah,
So you know how with realtors, every state's different, but in Colorado, as an example, I can't represent both sides of the transaction without becoming a, it's every state's going to be different, but in Colorado, there's some limitations there. I won't go into too much depth on that, but what I was going to ask you is, are there any restrictions on you as a TC representing both sides of a transaction? Does that ever happen?
it has happened. I think once, and of course, I've done several double-ended deals. Where the agent is
Yeah, you've helped
the
me with one of
yeah
those, I think.
Yep.
as a
So you,
transaction broker.
yeah, yeah. So you just keep it very like, and they both agents respected, nobody was asking, hey, you know, what can they really do? Can we do this? Do you have inspection objection yet? Can give me an idea. Nobody has done that. And so it's just like, everybody has their boundaries. And if it was ever asked, that's just not something. I can't disclose information. I would just say, you're going to have to talk to Adam about that, or whatever. So yeah, it's happened once. It doesn't happen too often.
Well, hopefully it happens with us this year with me. Hopefully I have enough work going on where I need that scenario to happen. That'd be nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, just kind of curious, how did the name of your company come about? Was that from this mentor of yours where you're kind of taking over some of the business, or is this something that you came up with, the whole no limits? Where did that come from?
Well, I used to joke it was from I think it was Usher. He had a song that said something about no limits, or I don't know, but it didn't come from a rap song in the 2000s. It was more like, I just don't want to put limits on myself. That's where it came from.
Okay, I
So
like that. I like that.
nothing exciting, but yeah.
And before we jumped on and started recording today, we were talking for a minute about just having like a deeper level of purpose behind your business and giving back in different ways and the importance of that. You and I were together out in Las Vegas last year for an event that Ryan Pineda put on. If you guys don't know who that is, he's worth checking out. And the guy that I was just talking about as well, Will Grimes, he was actually one of the speakers at this event. So we were both out there for that, but we got to also see Tim Tebow, and we were really excited about that. And you were just telling me off air before we started recording about how that's really important to you, his foundation. Just kind of tell me a little bit more about that, just what you're doing with them and just how that's important to you.
Yeah. After what is you might have to help me with the name of the movie. It was Sound of Freedom. I don't know if you saw that
Yeah.
when it came out. But like that was something that I don't know, like you hear about things, but it never really,
That was
it
child
doesn't
trafficking,
happen
right?
yeah, yeah. And since you don't see it like every day, it happens, but it's not like you're faced with it. So watching that movie and then I'm not even for sure if he mentioned anything about it. I think like on social media, I just saw Tim Tebow had posted something about like helping out with human trafficking or whatever. And so I don't know. It was just something that touched my heart. Like, you don't have to have kids for that to be, something that you're really involved in. But like, I don't know, having kids, it's just, I don't know. I can't imagine something happened to my kids, and I can't find them and they're being used for whatever. So I was like, I want to hopefully do something that my agents can be proud of. And, somehow incorporate that in my business. So I decided that $10 from every transaction closed, like I would donate $10 to the Tim Tebow Foundation. He's doing a lot of stuff that helps with, putting teams together to find, all these kids that are missing and being trafficked. And he does orphanages and, feeding kids and all kinds of stuff. Um, so yeah, that's something that I wanted to be a part of. And if I had, you know, all the money that, I didn't have to work, I would probably definitely be donating my time to, feeding kids, orphanages, or something like that. Cause I don't know, kids are our future and they're innocent. And I just can't wrap my head around them being put in places
For
that
sure.
are business being. So
Well, that's really cool. When we were talking about that earlier, I was just thinking about how that I need to make more of an effort to do that. And coincidentally, it was actually Tim Tebow that I was also kind of interested in, just from a different philanthropic thing that he does with the. So I have a sister who has special needs, and I think she participated in one of these like probably 15 years ago. But he has the Night to Shine, where he has like a prom that they put on in almost every big city, I think, in America. I mean, it's a massive, um, you know, thing at this point. But it would just be really cool to get more involved in that too. So maybe we can collectively, find a way to maybe get involved in that too, be a chaperone or something.
Well, interesting that you say that, Adam, because my church is sponsoring one in February.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And I
Same
don't know if
thing?
yeah, it's Night to Shine. It's Tim Tebow's Night to
Oh, I'm
Shine.
definitely
So,
down. Yeah.
yeah. So we can talk more about that. But yeah, they're all the time asking for volunteers, to help out or whatever. So I don't know if I'll be in town this year to do it, but I mean, they have it every year, every February. So yeah.
So even though prom, well, I guess I'm trying to think of when homecoming is in the fall, prom is usually in the spring. So I guess that is this time of year. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Well, yeah, I would love to learn more about that and
Yeah.
um, get involved somehow. But I think just, on my end, just thinking I'm 40, almost 42, and just having like not a midlife crisis, but just like, why am I here on this earth? Like some of those questions kind of pop up more regularly, and like
Yeah.
having purpose behind the work that you do. And I'm really happy with this with real estate. You really are impacting people in a positive way and helping them through, for most of them, the most expensive or most, highest dollar transaction they're ever going to have in their life. It's a very big moment for everybody that's buying or selling a home. And you're a big part of that too as a TC. But I think just kind of starting to look at real estate from a different perspective where we really are, providing and contributing to society just by the industry we're in as well, outside of any philanthropic stuff that we're doing. So just something to be proud about. I forget to kind of look at it from that angle sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, you get in the task after task, and sometimes you kind of like lose that perspective of like, you're just in there doing the work. But yeah, you do contribute. And that's why we were essential during COVID, like we could still get out there and do that because you are essential to society, and people still have to move their families or, whatever their needs may be. We still have to be a part of that. And there's nothing like human connection. Like whatever Zillow or XYZ Realty does or whatever to take the human piece out of it, like humans are just created to be connected to other humans. So I just think that our role is always going to be important. There's going to be some aspects of it that technology takes a lot of, but I think it's something that we are all going to be involved in at some point in our lives. So
How many of your kids are in high school, or you have three, right?
I have three, but I have none in high school right now. I have two graduated and one is in seventh grade right now.
Oh, okay. I was just
Yeah.
curious. The reason I was asking, I was curious if any of your kids have shown any interest in kind of following in your footsteps, whether it be as a realtor or maybe with TC work. Have any of them shown interest in this?
My middle son has. I've begged them all. Like I want them all to do something in real estate. But my middle son, he originally he's like, I want to do some fix and flips, do some investor type stuff. Right now that's been put on the back burner. He's looking more towards maybe doing something in the medical field, but he always wants to do that. That's something he always wants to. He wants to invest in real estate for down the line. But nobody's ever been like, yeah, I'm gonna do real estate full time. Not yet, anyways. So
And that's kind of a little something that probably a lot of our kind of mutual sphere of friends and people that we both are connected with probably don't really know much about with you is how you're also successful with real estate investing, right? That's something that you've been getting involved in. And I remember when we were in Vegas, you were talking a little bit about that.
yeah, I have a couple of rentals.
It's awesome.
Probably going to sell them because, and I just heard this morning, like when you take the new annual commission update class for 2025, about a third of the class is on leasing and landlords and rentals and stuff like that. And like Colorado is very hard if you're a small person that's a landlord. It's just not landlord friendly. So I'm probably going to be moving stuff to a different state. That's a little bit more, you know, backs the landlord and isn't so, I wouldn't say tenant friendly, but landlords need protections too, because not everybody is a multi-million dollar company and can afford just to allow people to stay in their houses for free. Um, so yeah, that's the plan right now anyways, but I don't know. There's some really great stuff out there as far as like, syndicating type stuff. One of my other agents, and you probably know her, she's doing some syndications, and I really wanted to get in on this last one with her, but I wasn't, just timing wasn't right. But yeah, fix and flips, I think that would be fun. I haven't jumped in the water on that one yet, but I think that would be a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it
So
seems like you could leverage your knowledge of where you moved here from. I think Oklahoma is probably one of those states that, you just, the dollar goes so much further where you can actually kind of make the numbers work. That's my issue with Colorado. It's on
yeah,
top of what you were just talking about with not being very landlord friendly. It's much more favoring tenants, but also how difficult it is just to, make a deal work on with the napkin math.
right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, things in Oklahoma, you can buy, you could probably buy some stuff cash there. And I think things will end up going that way. I know Arkansas was a really big hot spot, or has been, but the more people that move there and buy there, of course, it's going to drive the prices up. And so, I mean, Oklahoma is just right next door, so why not Oklahoma? So, yeah.
Yeah, my co-host on the show, Ben, he has some rental properties in Tulsa, and his brother actually lives
Yep.
in Tulsa. And I
Yep.
think his brother has like over 50 doors at this point. And I think they just bought one recently, and it was a duplex for like $120,000, and they're still getting like I think over $1,000 a month in rent per side. I mean, just crazy how different it is compared to Denver.
Yep. Yep, for sure. I'm looking more like in Oklahoma City, but we moved here from Tulsa, and Tulsa's a great little city. Like it's easy to get around, really, like I don't know. It's pretty friendly. It's a great little city, but yeah, I think I'm looking more towards Oklahoma City, I think, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it plays out.
So next podcast that you come on, you'll be pitching your multifamily 48 unit apartment building that you need to get syndicated.
Yes, that's right. Let's go. Let's do something, Adam. Let's go find something big to buy.
I like that. I like that. Definitely down the road. Well, let's just talk for a few more minutes about just with TCs, just understanding like how to maybe, get in touch with you to learn more about, how you can maybe provide some service to these other, realtors that might be listening. Just like kind of the process that, happens if they want to incorporate you into their business. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward, right? They just need to hop on a call, just kind of talk through the business with you a little bit.
Yep, yep. I'm happy to talk to anybody. I'm doing a little bit, doing some different stuff now because I've really learned like over the years, some agents don't want to use me like for a full transaction management service. They just want me to do compliance. And before I was like, no, like you get what you get. Either you want me to do the whole thing or not. But I'm just like, why am I turning that down? So, I've some agents I just do compliance for. I just upload documents and they're happy with that. And they want to be more in front of the client than I am, which is totally fine. But yeah, it's just a discovery call. And then if it's a green light from you or the agent, then it's just, getting some forms filled out. And then, once you have a first client, then I just dive in and I do my process. And the way my systems are set up, everything is like I have a master task list for buyers and sellers, but it's very customizable. I can make a task list for that's just for you or for any other agent. Like if they want me to send out a review request, it's just in their their task list to do. So anyways, yeah.
You literally took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was kind of leading into. Is you're also just a resource to help people just really grow their business overall, as far as, maybe some of these other little things that they don't have currently, like improving their online reputation with Google reviews. Having this as part of this, very structured process where that as soon as we're 5 days out from the closing date, you send out a very specific email that you've drafted with the realtor that you're working with. And there's all these little things that everybody's aware of as a realtor, but so many people, I think, forget if it's not part of a very systemized process. And that's, again, where you come in, where, once you've established that, the realtor doesn't have to really think about it anymore. They just know that A, B, C, D, E, F, G is going to happen, at the right time. And you can just forget about it.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
And we have some good stuff coming up, I think. I think it's good. I've learned, like, from other, like, not you. I'm pretty sure you have your stuff set up, but some agents don't have a CRM that they keep up with their clients. And so we're going to do some new stuff this year that I'm pretty excited about, that is hopefully going to stay in touch with agent spheres, and keep their clients, just in the know, and like, hey, this is what Adam has coming up, in this quarter or whatever. So it's going to hopefully keep you guys top of mind for your clients, because a lot of your business is going to be returning clients, so yeah, have some good stuff coming up this year, I think, that I'm excited to start doing. So
I am not very good with, like anniversary, like, if you bought a home on January 1st, remembering next year on January 1st or around then to reach out, and, using those as kind of reasons to reach out to people, your existing clients. So I think I'm not alone there. I think a lot of other agents probably are in the same boat, where having some of that, just, another person helping execute that, I think would be huge. I like that idea a lot.
Yep. Lots of good stuff. And the more stuff I hear that agents are needing, some support on, like, let's do it. Let's put it in a system and let's set it and forget it. Because those are things that are, like, so easily repeated. And it's not like I have to go in and, send out an email and figure out what the email says every time it gets sent out. It's a templated email. It's set to go out on a certain day, and then it's done. So it's not like, it's not spending a ton of time on something. So yeah.
Well, how can people find you if they're interested in learning a little bit more about the value of a TC?
So my website is nolimitstm.com. And then there's a contact tab on there for that, or you can call, text. My phone number is 303-204-0037. Or email. It's just Allison@nolimitstm.com. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the ways.
And I'll put all that info in the show notes for anybody that's listening or watching us on YouTube. We'll put all that in the show notes for you guys to easily get a hold of her if you need to. But any last words you want to share with the audience before we close this one out, Allison?
Let me see. Besides, if you don't have a TC, you are the TC. I guess that's it. But I appreciate you, Adam.
I like that.
Love working with you. And yeah, this was fun. So I appreciate you having me on.
Well, I think we were chatting earlier too. I think we could definitely do a multi-episode, kind of like a master class in a sense, as far as just diving a little deeper into, because you have such a wealth of knowledge of seeing so many different scenarios, since you are just seeing a lot of volume with different transactions and probably a lot of unique things that are kind of maybe, I don't know, just things that are worth other agents hearing about, and maybe just learning a thing or two just from others' prior experiences, and how hopefully you've been able to save the day and help us prevent that happening to us.
Yeah. Things are wild. Real estate is wild at times. Sometimes it's, just goes as planned, but there's lots of wildness going on. So anyways, I mean, there's so many factors that can go in to closing a transaction. So yeah, pretty interesting.
Yep. Well, thanks. I really enjoyed chatting with you today, Allison. And again, guys, keep your eye out for another episode with her in the future. And until next time, hope you all have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you next week on a brand new episode of the Pursuit of Progress podcast. I'll see you guys later.